Liz Gosling, who I first managed to. So, with all of that said, what would be your highlight at the moment?
Gosh. That's actually a really hard question. You've sprung that on me, Ryan.
I did. So why don't we
what's a highlight? I mean, look, highlight, of course, is my family. I mean, I still think that probably my greatest achievement, Caitlin and Cara, if you're out there, is having my girls. It was also one of the most challenging things I've ever done. And anyone who's been a parent will completely get where I'm coming from. Because you're there 24/7, and you deal with some really difficult stuff. On the work front, I think COVID this year has been, I wouldn't say it's a highlight, it's certainly taught us all a lot of things about how to lead organisations, about crisis management, about dealing with things that are coming around the corner when we really don't know what's going to happen next. And like all organisations, AET has a really good emergency management plan, and we even have pandemic as one of the things that we've considered. But none of us saw how this was going to play out. I mean, I was sitting up in the Bay of Islands with my husband at the very end of January when I first started to detect concerns from our Chinese staff, or people with links into China were sending emails saying, look, this they're not telling us everything, and this is really bad. So that's when we started. We pressed the button on the emergency management plan here, and here we are. It's the 1st of September, and we're still doing it. So yeah.
Actually, it's September's my birthday month at the end.
Oh, is it?
So that's important to COVID, but it just sunk in that we've been through COVID the whole year.
Pretty much, it's been 6 or 7 months now. When's your birthday, Ryan? Is it the same day as my mum's?
27th.
Oh, 27th. My mum's is the 30th. Okay.
Yeah. Libran, so she'll be Libran.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay. Thank you very much for being able to answer that. We do have a bit of the 4 standard questions and a bit of a chat, and sometimes they can be tough ones. So thank you for catching that one and doing well with it. So on to the next one, which I think is the answer is going to be no to start with. But what's your AFQY experience?
Well, my AFQY experience is meeting you. And actually, after we met at Tech Week and you interviewed me, I went off and I found the LinkedIn page, and I actually watched quite a number of the interviews that you've done and read up about AFQY. So I quite like the idea of a way of networking which is a bit more relaxed and a bit more of a social setting, because I mean, as we all know, some of these corporate events can feel like just corporate speed dating, and for me personally that doesn't work. I don't particularly enjoy them. So I like the emphasis on the person that you bring to it. You're interested in actually what people are as a whole rather than just kind of what their job title is. And I find people endlessly fascinating, and that's part of the reason that I like doing the work with coaching people and leadership institutes, because people have the most interesting stories. They really are. Yeah, I really. So So
I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment, and I spent 4 years running bars. 5 years.
Oh, did you?
Which the stories, like the most unusual occurrences and fascinating discussions. So, what's the coolest thing in tech according to you? And this is not necessarily a work thing. In fact, hopefully it's not, but whatever you decide. But what's the coolest thing in tech according to Liz?
So I'm not going to come out with whatever the latest greatest software is at all, because actually I think what this year's event has taught us all is that the coolest thing in tech is being able to keep connected, and that means decent internet connections and doing what we're doing now. The whole world, as far as I can tell, has run on Teams and Zoom and Skype video call meetings for months. So it's that ability for us to keep connected. It's been vital to keeping our schools going. Many of you out there will have been through the same homeschooling experience that I've been through with my daughter Cara. And if we didn't have that connectivity, the ability for the teachers to do the video calls, we'd been stuffed, frankly. Some of us were stuffed anyway, as we're terrible homeschool teachers. And of course, at AUT, we switched, as many other universities have done globally, we had to switch to fully online learning in a very short space of time to keep our students with us and engaged, and keep them on the path to studying the qualifications that they signed up for. And of course, where would we be without video conference meetings? And as I said to you earlier on, the phrase of 2020, you're on mute. And how many times have we all heard that this year? What is not cool, though, is that there are people in areas of New Zealand who cannot afford decent internet connectivity, or they can't get decent internet connectivity. So Craig Young, the CEO of Tuans, did a fabulous was interviewed in Stuff over the weekend, and he talked about the importance of what he called the donut, the stale donut, and how actually people in cities like Auckland have got great connectivity, and people in some rural areas have got pretty good connectivity, but there are patches around the edge, and I can name it. In Auckland, it's Miriwai, Huapai, all around there, who have terrible connectivity. So I think that sort of social inequality is something that we all need to deal with. And of course, for our children, particularly in South Auckland and other areas, we know that the Ministry of Education and AUT and many other education institutions were shipping out laptops and modems to keep those kids connected and learning. So yeah, there you go. That's
very cool.
Why it's cool and not cool.
Well, I've got something for you. Okay, now this is cool because AFQY is now having